Hi there, welcome to Messiah's Crash Course. The objective of this small tutorial is showing you how to, as quickly as possible, get to grips with Messiah and how to integrate it with a major 3D application. To do that, we're going to show you how to use Messiah, quick general guidelines of how to use it. Then we're going to move to other 3D programs, specifically Maya. We're going to show you how to transfer Messiah's animation, okay, like this one. It's a sample scene from Messiah, and how to transfer it seamlessly to Maya, as you can see here. Okay, then we're going to show you how to do the same for Lightwave. Okay, and bear in mind that this is not just transferring an MDD, which is a point deformation format, okay, in which it just transfers the point deformation. Now we're going to show you how to actually use that animation so that you can post animate joints and use whatever features of your main target application. For instance, you could use Lightwave's IK booster, or you could use my specific deformation systems like wire deformers, dual quaternion skinning, and all those goodies that you can get out of your specific program. Okay, and then we're gonna move and show you how to get this seamlessly inside Unity for any real-time applications or game development needs. Okay, so yeah, that's a lot to show, so let's get started with Messiah. To start with, let's just fire up Messiah. And this is just supposing a really fresh install. Like, I have nothing done here. I've just installed the software. So the first thing we're going to do is just improve a little bit the GUI, the interface. Okay, so the interaction model is really far from the best, if you want my opinion, and it's not very intuitive to start with. So let's get my standard input system inside Messiah. So how are we going to do this? What you have to do is find the keyboard shortcuts folder inside your Messiah Studio installation, which if it's a 64-bit install, it's going to be right here. If it's a 32-bit install, you're probably going to change the program files. The rest is going to be very similar. Then you're going to find these two files here, and there's a how to install keyboard shortcuts txt there, which pretty much tells you what you're going to do next, but I'll do the same. So just select those two guys, copy them, and find the destination folder to put them in. In my case, I have it in a buffer, so I just, make a pretty view here first to just paste that, and then you just copy over. Okay, once these two files are here, what you got is inside Messiah, you've got the possibility to use it. So first things first, hidden and customize won't give you all the customized options, which is probably non-intuitive, but that's how Messiah works. Many things are hidden in right mouse button context menus like this. So to change your GUI style, just select track here from the GUI style context sensitive menu, and hey, look at that, pretty modal-like colors. Yeah, that's how I like it. So the next thing we're going to do is just load those files that we have just made available to Maya. So to do that, select this box. It's a drop down while you hold box. If you rather, you can simply click this icon here, and it's going to give you a list, which is modal. And if you select your option, it won't do anything, but if you double click it, it's going to activate. So that's what you want, Key Command Manager. Once you click that, you're going to see there are assignments available to you, and just click and hold and select the Maya defaults. Yes, thank you, Messiah. Now you can orbit using Alt left mouse button, you can pan around using Alt middle mouse button, and you can zoom in and out using the Alt right mouse button combination. Much easier to use it. Before I forget it, save your configuration. File, right click on it, save config. Okay, so quick rundown of the interface. There are tabs here as usual. Right mouse button on top of those tabs give you the context, the very powerful context menus. Load is completely context sensitive, so if you click load, you can pretty much select anything from objects to images, and you can also load Messiah scenes. So in my case, right, I have the recent file set here, so I just opened the Butch01 scene. Here we go. Okay, right now you can orbit around because you're on a camera view. Okay, that's telling you that you're on a camera view. So if you move to perspective now, you can orbit around just, you know, as usual. You can select items using the middle mouse button, and you can rescale any region in your interface just by simply dragging it around. Just, you know, hit the edge, and here you can see the graph editor. It's available at all times. So you have keyframes and you have the curves just by moving one controller. Really handy. So this is the edit sphere in Messiah, which gives you access to anything from bank controls, any heading controls, and you can also move things if they're unlocked, of course, which is not the case in this controller. So you can change the view, top, you know, left. If you click it again, you just switch to the other side. Okay, so front and back, just click it. Regularly use perspective. Remember, you can hit ask at any time to hide the edit sphere if you don't like it, if it's taking too much screen space for you. One of the main difference of the edit sphere, I must add, is that once you click whichever controller you want to change, you can just click and drag anywhere. You don't have to keep dragging over it like the standard gizmos from other programs. Okay, a major hint to learn Messiah is load the scenes, the sample scenes that come with it. They're very, very interesting. You can pretty much dissecate any of those scenes and learn a lot. Okay, don't skip those. So as for its tab interface, the most important tabs are Command and Setup, where you prepare your rigging. Most of the deformation goes into the setup. The rigging infrastructure is set using the Command tab, and then you use the Animate tab to actually create your animation. The Setup tab is actually a mode, okay, inside Messiah, where you will automatically see your character in what's called the bind pose in other programs, but in a completely non-destructive fashion. So you can easily, no matter what point in your animation you are, you can actually select a bone, go to the Setup tab, switch stuff like slip, which is the influence, and then you go back to animate, and you see that reflected in real time. It's really amazing. Now, to give you a quick intro on how to use the powerful Setup tab in Messiah, let's clear the scene. And as you can see, we start with a camera and a light here in the item list. Okay, which is a regular item list that's the same all around the application. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a null. Let's just click on add, and it'll automatically add the null for us. So what I want to do is I want to hook up the X movement of the node object to the X movement of the camera, so that whenever I move the node to the right, I move the camera to the right, up, down, etc. So how are we going to do that? Pretty simple. Let's go to the Command tab and create a value container, which is called a variable inside Messiah. So just click on your variable and now move to the Expression tab. Right now you can see that our value container is empty. We can fix that very easily just by adding a number here and hitting enter. Now this value container takes 1. Not very useful until we actually assign it to something else. So how do we do that? We go to Channels tab, select the item. In this case, I'll middle click the camera here, and then I'll select the actual channel, for instance, the X position. You're going to see it highlighted in yellow here, saying it's the active channel for Messiah. Then you're going to click on the plus sign here. As you can see, the camera instantly popped to the X1 position in world coordinates. Okay, so if we change that variable to the value 2, you see that it instantly pops to the 2 x-axis position. That's obviously not very dynamic. You won't want to keep changing static values like this in the command tab every time you want to move an item. So what you want to do is actually assign another channel to dynamically and automatically feed its value into the var variable, which on its turn is gonna feed the camera X position channel. Okay, so how do we do that? Pretty simple. Just click here and change to the expression tab, and we want to change this to something more dynamic and useful. Instead of typing something into the expression field, we're gonna pull it straight from the viewport. So first, let's delete this guy using the delete shortcut key. Now middle click on the item to select it, select the channel you want, and right click on the buffer action button. Once you do that, it's now properly fitting the no X position to the var variable and then assigning it to the camera X position. To show you how that's working, just drag here and you see that it moves the camera accordingly. If you had left clicked it instead in the buffer action button, you had just fed the channel variable inside the buffer, which is useful when you're composing a function from the function list. Functions are like mini plugins that are built into Messiah and pre-compiled, so you can make any kind of fancy stuff like aligning, copying angles, and all that sort of things. In this case, we didn't need the buffer, so we just right-clicked it on the action button next to the field. Okay, so you're not limited to just one channel taking the result, the value from the variable. You can assign as many as you want. Just select it, go to the Channels tab, and select the item and the channel, the other channel that you want, for instance, the Z channel, and just click on plus. Now you see that as you move the no along the x-axis, you get the camera both moving upwards and in the X position, as you can see here. Okay? Even after things are hooked up, you can edit those expressions and make something like multiply the X position of the no by 2, and the result of that computation be fed to variable and later fed to the camera X and Y positions, so that now whenever you move the no, the camera is moving twice as much in the X and Y axis. Even better, what if we wanted this multiplying factor to be taken from a dynamically adjusted gizmo on screen? Easy to do. Let's first create the controller, going to the Setup tab, double-clicking on the slider, and you see that it pops up with all the standard transformation channels you get from an object. So we only need one for that action. So let's just right-click here in this button to make whatever we don't need invisible. You can also rename the channel to something more descriptive, like, for instance, X multiplier. At this point, if you select something else, you see that the slider goes away. So to prevent that, we can just make it pinned. Okay, so it's now fixed on screen. Now let's get back to the Command tab, select the slider controller. Let's just clean up the thing here using backspace, and then we'll right-click on the buffer action button to fit it up here. Okay, pretty simple. Let's clean it up, and it's done. Now, whenever I move the no along the x-axis, this value is going to affect the camera depending on what's set in X multiplier. So if it's set to 0, obviously the result is 0, so the camera doesn't move. But if I move it all the way to 1, I can now move the no, and you see the result on the camera. Okay?